Ladies and gentlemen, ears of corn, we are right back. This is very much indeed the first two-part episode of the Corn Chronicles. The search continues. I am joined once again by Emily Krause and Mrs. Deanna Krause. Boy, oh boy. Now, before we were interrupted because I haven't upgraded to the upgraded version of Zoom, which I'm sure has a name that I've already forgotten. So we got kicked out by the meeting. I was in the middle of asking in a very long-winded way because I was trying to multitask to no avail, obviously. Although it was a valiant effort, I will say. I'm sweating. I was asking Emily to kind of characterize the difference between living in Philly and living in New York, and just kind of her impressions of each city, certainly being a resident. Emily, Lord knows I've already spoken enough. Would you like to take it from there?
Yeah, I just want to compliment you because you were so close. It was really impressive. We were watching that less than 1 minute, 60 second clock tick down, and you were almost there. But I mean, I guess it made our Chronicles special. So,
indeed.
Yeah. So I think both are very unique cities, and they both have a lot of great things about them. I think the way I describe it to people, and hopefully I don't offend anybody by saying this, but I look at Philly as a city where, and I actually think Deanna and Ben gave me this mentality. Philly's a great city when you're in your like mid to late 20s or older and want to settle down somewhere where it's not as crazy as New York. It's not as, wild every weekend, and prices are more reasonable. And it's just like a very chill city. Now, New York has that aspect, but I think for me, when I moved to Philly, I was a year out of college. I was young. I had moved to Manhattan before then. And I think like at that stage of my life, I wasn't looking for like a very quiet, settled down type lifestyle. So I think Manhattan and New York City in general, because now I'm in Queens, is a special place where you can get anything and everything you want at any time of the day or the night or the morning. And for me, I'm a New Yorker. I'm from New York. I think I'll be here for life. Maybe not the city, but New York as a state. I think Philly has a lot of beautiful aspects to it, and I almost wish I had moved there a little later in my life so I could have appreciated them a lot more. But I think like one of the first things that happened to me is my first week there, we went to the same bar twice within a 3-day period. And I was like, oh, why are we going to the same bar? Everyone's like, yeah, you know everyone there. And it's just like, where you go? And it's like, what? In New York City, we never go to the same bar twice. We see people we go at this bar. At that time, so now I feel like I would love a place to call like my home bar, and I certainly have those places, but at that time it wasn't necessarily for me, but I love going back to visit. I have a lot of good friends that live there, and I always have a blast when I'm there.
Tremendous. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful city. Like I said, I've always had the luxury of people kind of guiding me around and say, like, this is a place you want to see, or, a couple of bachelor parties there, which was cool. It's underrated as a bachelor party. We went to see, I'll tell you this, man, I feel like I'm the minority here. And we don't have to talk about this, but it's worth mentioning. Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a hilarious show, okay? It's well written. I'm a big fan.
There he is.
Oh, would you look at that?
Sorry, he was over here.
Yes. Always good. That's Opie, correct? Before I stick my foot in the wall? Yes, of course. Oh, no, that's Jester.
Oh, I thought you were going to have him. I thought we were going to rename it the Cat Chronicles.
Yes. I like that. We can do that for a night. Why not? Oh, no.
Hello. Hello. Meow. Meow.
Hang on one sec. All right, I got something, I think.
We have to hold him because he's pissed.
Oh, we got him now.
Look, Opie. Here, come on.
Oh, there we go.
That's all I got. My dude.
Hi. Okay.
Oh, dude.
Sadie. Hey, Sadie.
Emily, one of my favorite memories, and it's so small. It's not something I think about a lot. I can't lie to you, but when I do, it makes me laugh. Is we all know that my social media presence, especially when I was a little younger, was kind of an eclectic one of just kind of like random sayings and tweets and things like that. And I remember being in Philly for New Year's Eve, where we all kind of spent that evening together, which was a lot of fun. I actually made an excursion to see some of my friends who lived in Philly as well, so that was really cool. Um, we got to walk with Rupak in the freezing cold home. No, not as fun. But I remember I tweeted something, and again, especially at that time, but even now, like anything that I threw on social media was just like something to make me laugh in my own head. But something had to do with just like a cat. Like I said, something like, that cat's been gone a while or something like that. And I just remember I got a tweet back from Emily, and it said like, is my cat lost or something like that. It was just like a reasonable question. And I remember because in my head, and I'm wrong here, rest assured, but in my head, Twitter is a place to be like silly and stupid. And so I say to Ben, I was like, yo, like Emily just asked, like, is my cat okay? Like, what does she mean by that? And Ben goes, literally, he's just like, she's probably just checking on her cat. And I'm just like, oh yeah. And so I tweet back like, oh yeah, your cat's fine. And I know that that's really stupid, but just the fact that I was that thick to just think like, when Emily asks if her cat's okay, what does she mean? You know? And Ben's like, she's probably asking if her cat's all right.
I'm a very overprotective cat mom, so it makes sense that I was immediately thinking about my own cat and being lost. He also likes to roam the hallways, so maybe I thought he was out and about.
Sure. Yes. No, it was definitely me being an idiot. And nowhere near vice versa. Rest assured. It was all on me. Man. Certainly, speaking for myself, at the risk of getting too heartfelt, I owe obviously a lot of great memories to obviously my friendship with the two of you as individuals, but also very much in addition to that, it's been kind of the kindness of your families and kind of their willingness to kind of open their arms to me and just kind of consider me one of their own. It certainly means a lot. And to be honest, I feel like I could spend another 40-minute Zoom meeting just talking about that, but that would be pretty boring. Certainly some of my best 4th of July were there at the Niagara House playing volleyball on that net that wouldn't quite stay level. One of my favorite memories is when the volleyball went into the pool and somebody grabbed a lamp that was unplugged and used the lamp to get the volleyball out of the pool, which was an incredible sight. Anyway, but Deanna, I want to shift gears a little bit. It seems to me a lot of, again, prep is a loose word, but when I was kind of thinking about a lot of memories, a lot of some of the really cool moments that I feel like we've all as a group shared certainly have been there at kind of your place, either on the couch or out in the back, just kind of playing music and hanging around. And Lord knows my best memories are when that couscous was flowing. Oh, yeah. And there you go. And the cat makes the journey as well. Anytime couscous is mentioned. No, but there's always very much, certainly a warmth from both of your families, like rest assured, but certainly your house growing up seemed very much kind of a gathering place, and which was very important to me. And I guess the fact that it's important to me as someone who, by comparison, was not there, it's obviously not my home. Can you kind of tell me what, I don't know, it just kind of always seemed like kind of a very warm place to be, in a place that very much the doors were always open. Can you kind of share kind of your perspectives on that? And has that kind of, I suppose it has, because whose family doesn't have an impact on the way they kind of perceive the world, but like, can you tell me a little bit about how that characterization and kind of how you feel about that? Is that a weird question?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky to have the parents that I have. I think starting with them, they're like the reason why we're able to have these nice warm gatherings with jams and stuff. My, I guess they're a little more bohemian, so to speak, but modern bohemians because they're not like full on hippies or anything, but they're definitely like chill, but to a point where like they're not like it's not like the disgusting party house, you know, but they like, kind of let us do our thing. And my dad has like a passion for music too, so he's all about the jams. And over time, he's gotten more and more instruments to like get everyone involved. And like acoustically, now our whole basement's like set up like with PAs and stuff. He's like ready to go. He just needs people to come over and play.
Exactly.
So,
And the
but
new
like,
symbols.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I like the basement setup, but I always find myself loving the jams in the living room where we're all sitting on the big couch and it's just like I don't even play, but I love sitting in and it's just fun, and it's fun to see all the different people that have come and gone over time, and like it's like random memories of like Bogdan being there playing the clarinet with us, you know, like, or we'll move the jam across the street to Bob's where he's very like musical, and like there's just so many different people who've either come in and played or even just witnessed. Like I remember my friend Megan being like, what is going on right now? Because it was like to someone who's like doesn't do it all the time like us, it's like an interesting sight. But it's really cool. I know my dad always like gets the candles out and tries to like set the mood, and it's always fun. Like more recently we had one out around the fire pit outside. And it's just, those are my favorite memories. It's just like a cool way to bond with friends, especially when bust out the Jewish songs
Yeah.
and stuff. And just, yeah, like my Nana always talks about you specifically, Polly, and how much she loves watching you like freestyle. And she's like, she does this when she describes you. That's what you do. Like she loves watching it. My Uncle Johnny will be there sometimes and he loves it.
The whip-a-doodle. I can't let this go by without mentioning the whip-a-doodle.
Yeah. Yeah, my crazy Uncle Johnny and his whip-a-doodle. Yeah.
It's so strange that you mentioned kind of how commonplace that is or was or is, yeah, still to us, because I just had my buddy Greg. At this point, I spoke to him a couple months ago, if I'm being honest, but his episode, for lack of a better term, just debuted today. And every time I'm about to release an episode, I do a little write-up. And so I watched the conversation back. And Greg was actually there for the first ever fundraiser that I did, which was really obviously cool. And if I'm being honest with you, like I forgot that he was there. And I mean, I'm not proud of that, but like it was a real kind of revelation. And then it was cool to hear him talk about it, because he was like, yeah, and you played and your friends were great. And you know, and that part was just like cool. And we're both reminiscing. And then he's like, and then we went back to this place. And then like even more musicians showed up. And it's amazing the sense of wonder that he had with it. And to me, it was just like, oh yeah, that was probably the Stockhouse, you know? And not that I take that for granted, but I was just kind of like, yeah, we did that a lot, you know? Like to him, it's just like, holy Christmas, I can't believe we did that. And to me, it's just like, yeah, man, like it was the summer, and so we were probably doing it, yeah.
Yeah, I hope it never ends. That's one thing. No matter where we go, I hope like, and that's the cool thing about it too. Like it's been a while, but still like we'll all meet up and it'll like a jam session can still happen. Like I said, it could be with anyone. So, but it's cool like to see the old gang get back together sometimes, and just everyone's always welcome. And it's just, sorry about that. So, yeah, it's just cool to like, I just hope that we continue doing this until we're in our like 60s and whatnot, you know? Or
Tell me about it. Yeah, man. The way I like to think of it is I hope there's always a couch for all of us, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And you don't have to define where that's going to be. You just got to have a big enough couch for all your friends to gather around, and that's what it's all about, in my opinion. It really is. Yeah, man, certainly a lot of splendid times. I got to mention the couscous again. Always delicious, always a highlight. Can't even lie about that. And what I will say was cool. It's cool that you mentioned, your Nana, because I feel like there were a couple times where I would be over and she would mention specifically, she's like, "Are you gonna put this in your blog?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I probably am."
Yeah, you used to be big with the blog, and I remember you had one like very descriptive article. I think it was like it involved my uncle and the whippadoodle. Like you had this whole thing about one of my family parties, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. I'm sure there's a couple of those.
Yeah.
Now, Emily, I have to tell you, I'm going to shift gears real quick. I'm so glad that came up. I'm not even saying this for your benefit. I really do not remember the context. I don't. But I remember being absolutely blown away that this happened. I remember being out at a bar with a big group. And, of course, you and I are amongst them. And you say something or do something, and everybody laughs. And I'm not saying this for your benefit. I genuinely don't know what you said or did. And then suddenly, like immediately afterwards, you're like, "Hi," and like your face is like very serious. And I'm just like, did I, like, it's to the point where like we're drinking a little bit. So I'm like, did I do something wrong? Like, I'm like literally recounting the last 10 seconds in my head, I'm just like, what happened? And so you call me over and I go over and you go, "Holly," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm right here." And you're like, "Don't put this in your blog." And I'm just like, and I remember one thinking it was hilarious, but my second thought was just like, "Oh, you do care," like it was really very splendid. I say I'll never forget it. As much as I can't remember the context of it, that particular aftermath is something that I think about very fondly. I don't expect you to, but do you have any recollection of that at all?
I feel like we talked about it not too long ago, and it might have come up that I was doing an impression of my mother.
No way. Oh, okay. That sounds about right.
I love my mother, and she's, she's a very special lady in my life, but she has a very distinct voice at times, and I'm probably the only person that could replicate it. Maybe my sister as well. And Deanna, you can relate because I've heard you do impressions of your mom.
Sound like Emily.
And I'm like, "Emmy, what are you doing?" Something like that. But now that we're trading stories, I feel like you need to do an impressions. You need to do one quick of your mom.
Me? Trying to think of something she would say. Like, whole impression. That's the whole thing.
You're not gonna like that.
No, I'm like not quick on my feet tonight.
Probably her saying your name.
Deanna, don't do that. That's not nice. Don't talk to your mother that way. Yeah.
Well done. What a highlight.
Do you want to do a family member impression just to round it out here?
I really don't. They watch. No.
Do you want to try my mom or Deanna's mom?
No, I don't. I think I already did the impression with the whippadoodle. I think we're good on that. Or I could do a John Johnson and just say something snap, which is one of the.
Something snapped.
I'll be done. But man, Deanna, can I ask one more? It's not an impression, but can I put you in a performative spot one more time?
Okay.
I have a friend. I work with people, and many of them are a little younger than me. And one of them is turning 24. And I would like to be able to celebrate their 24th birthday, but I just can't think of a unique and appropriate way to do that. Is there anything that you can kind of suggest to kind of help me along?
you could possibly do the 24 song that I made for Ben when he turned 24. How long we've been together. So it goes like this: 24, getting so old. 24, old.
Splendid. Oh, my night has been made. My goodness.
Just wait until 25. She's got a really good one about a swan dive in there.
That's
Really? That one I haven't heard, but we'll wait a year on that. I'll check back in with you then.
Yeah.
Man, I remember. Shoot, I'm not even gonna get into it. Man, it was so great to hear that song once again. Man,
24 again. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like all the ages have been good. You grow older, a little wiser, a little cooler.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're at your best stage yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all feeling good, man. I think we have a lot to be proud of in terms of what's behind us, in front of us, all good stuff. Emily, only on one other occasion have I asked an individual to tell a story that I specifically wasn't there for. One story I'd love to hear from your perspective involves one Sean Taylor and his picking up of taquitos. I'm not being facetious or coy in any way when I say it's a story that when I hear it, I find very funny. Is that something that you're comfortable telling to me? Is there something that maybe I'm not aware of that makes it not appropriate? Because you don't have to.
No, I think it's appropriate for sure. And it's funny you bring it up because I just told this story like 3 days ago. I was at my aunt's house, Jake's mom, my Aunt Diana, and she was telling us it's her, I think she said it was her 10, it couldn't have been, it could have been 10-year wedding anniversary.
Wow.
She was like, it feels like just yesterday that we were in the city getting married. And I said, yeah, like that was quite the day. You know, I had quite the experience. And they were like, well, what do you need? And this was literally on Saturday, so a couple days ago. It's like, yeah, don't you remember the Sean Taylor taquito story? You're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they were getting married in Manhattan. We lived in, it was the summertime, so we were in Miller Place. And we had probably about 5 or so of our friends that were joining us at the wedding, which was nice of her to invite us all. And we were in college at the time, and we all wanted to drink and have a little bit of fun. So the plan was, let's all catch the whatever time the train was from Ronkonkoma, take a train in, leave the car there, pick it up later in the night. So I volunteered to drive to Ronkonkoma, and there were a couple of us in the car. I think it was me, Sean Taylor, Greeby, Ben, maybe, I don't remember who else, but I told everyone, get at my house at this time so we can make the train. And you know how it is with that Ronkonkoma train. You either get there just in time or you don't get there at all. You never get there 10 minutes, 5 minutes early. It just doesn't happen. So I'm a very big planner. I plan it out absolutely perfect. And, 5 minutes pass and Sean Taylor is still not there. And I'm freaking out. Like, we're going to miss that train. And he maybe shows up like 6 minutes late or something. I get in the car and I look at him and he's holding a 7-Eleven taquitos bag. And I was like, are you kidding me? You stopped at taquitos and you're running 6 minutes late because of that? And we literally pulled into the train station as the train was leaving, and we were going to a wedding, so we couldn't wait an hour for the next train. So I just booked it. I drove into the city, and big shout out to Adam Kaplan for driving my car home later that night. He was the PD. But I'll never let Sean Taylor live down, being almost late. And we did hit traffic. We literally got there right as the wedding started because he had to get those taquitos from 7-Eleven.
Baby boy, the taste buds and heart want what they want. Boy,
I love Sean Taylor, and that makes him who he is. So
doesn't it though?
from then on, you tell Sean Taylor about 20 to 30 minutes earlier from when you want him to be there.
Exactly. Yeah. That way he'll only be 2 minutes late, you know? Deanna, I wanted to end the show by circling back to a question I asked Emily, but I certainly wanted each of us to kind of share our own thoughts. One of my, I don't want to call it a favorite because I feel like I don't have a favorite. I feel like whatever hits my mind more recently tends to be a favorite. But one of my really treasured Fish concert memories is when we saw them at Jones Beach together. You, me, Ben, Sean Taylor, at least. Emily, were you there as well?
I don't think I was there with you guys.
Not for that one. There was the retro fitness one where we all got those shirts and there could have been live scorpions in that box and people were sticking their hand in there. That was the wildest thing I've ever seen. That was like, I've never been out Black Friday shopping. I've never in my life. I'm 31 years old. But I imagine that was the closest to whatever the heck that madness would be, was when that guy said free shirts and he didn't even get the FR out of his mouth before people latched onto that box and would try to pluck out whatever was in it. And all it is are these little gym shirts, which in fairness, I have mine. So who am I kidding? They're really very treasured. But for me, one of the cooler ones was seeing them on the 4th of July, and they're playing "Slave to the Traffic Light." I do remember the song, and the whole night is pretty darn cloudy, but it's dry. And there's finally this moment during the encore, "Slave to the Traffic Light," where the moon pops out from behind the clouds.
Right.
And I remember that so vividly, and the crowd goes, ugh, you know, the crowd goes wild. And I lean over to you, and I'm just like, yo. And I'm a big believer. I say all the time, man, if we go to watch the Knicks play, like, first round's on me. Like, let's drink, you know? Like, that's just me being honest with you. But for concerts, for the most part, I'm more of a sobriety thing. So this is not any, like, impairment talking. I lean over to Deanna, and I'm just like, hey, Deanna, what happened? Why are they cheering? I was too busy watching the moon. And Deanna goes like, no, that's what they're cheering. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
And I really have very much a soft spot for that moment, just as a person. And in a weird way, our friendship, if I'm being honest with you. But it was, I think about that moment more often than I probably should, to be honest. I thought that was really cool. So with that minor segue, are there maybe any one or two specific Fish concert memories that kind of pop to mind that you really treasure, that maybe to close the show with?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a few if that's okay. So, Magna Ball was an amazing experience for me because I am not a camper, and that trip was so nice. Like, it ended up making me think I could be a camper. And then I like went camping like later on down in Maryland with Wong, and I realized I could not camp. I just happened to have like great weekends at Fish, and I was really just like the magic of it all was like so great. So that was a really special time because it was also Erica's first Fish show. It's always nice when you bring someone to their first Fish show and like they experience it. And that was like just a weekend full of memories. And then I loved when they played at Randall's Island because what was really cool was like we lived in Astoria, which we still do, and we were able to literally just walk across the Triborough Bridge to go to the concert. So we like literally walked. I remember you almost got hit by a bike.
Yes, I remember too, yes.
You did get hit by a bike on the bridge. But something about being able to walk to a Fish concert from like your house was like really cool. And it's something that we'll probably never get to do again. And the shows there were really great too that weekend. It was like the first time I caught a Sunday show, and now I know why they say never to miss a Sunday show. Because it was really, I just remember it was like a really long chalk dust torture, and I really had to pee, and Ben told me I couldn't pee, so the whole time I had to sit there. But it was so good at, like, I didn't really mind holding it, but it was like, I'll never forget that. And then more recently, during the last New Year's run, it was not the New Year's show, think it was the Saturday before New Year's. My whole family went to a show, and that's something like that had never happened before. My mom came, my dad got like a skybox situation, so it was like my mom, my dad, and my two sisters, and Ben, and then eventually Jeremy and Johnny made their way in there, I
They
think.
got scolded out. I was there too.
Okay, you were there too. Yeah, I was like, you never know who's there. Like, it could be anyone that's there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but that was like really cool to be able to share a fish experience. Like, my mom loved it, and it was like cool to be able to share that experience with like literally my whole family, because like the fish community is like your family to begin with, and then like you have your actual family there, and it was like worlds colliding. It was cool.
That's great. That's so beautiful. Low-key great moment of that show is talking to Ben during intermission, and he's trying to describe the size of the shrimp. And so I'm into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You know, like I really am. I'm not bombing on the topic at all. But I'd say to him, I was like, oh, how did they taste? Like, this is after a good 2 minutes of him talking about the size of the shrimp. And I'm like, oh, how did they taste? And he's just like, I don't know, I don't like shrimp. And I'm just like,
yeah. It's definitely the fanciest fish experience we've had too.
Is Ben in the background listening?
No, he's like in the room playing guitar or something. I don't know. He's just waiting.
Maybe jump in and explain his side to it.
Yeah. He's waiting for his next episode to tell more.
You bet. No, I mean, I would love to have a fish concert specific episode with Ben.
I'm sure.
I will go on record. Listeners, be on the lookout for that in future weeks. That is coming very soon. A lot more to cover with Ben. But
at his scrapbook.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I've ever actually seen it, but I've heard about it. I would love to see it. Cute. Right on. But with that in mind, ladies, I want to thank you both for joining me here tonight. I really had a blast talking through some memories with you. And I certainly want to thank you both, not only for your time here tonight, but also for being, just a really positive influence on my life, and just being very kind of present. And, obviously the two of y'all mean a lot to me, and I don't have anyone on this show that I don't care about a great deal. So I certainly want to thank you both for that. And I definitely look forward to part 3, a couple months down the line. And I really want to thank you for it.
Well, thanks, Polly. This was fun.
Yeah, this was really fun, and I'm honored that we were your first two-part crew here.
Yeah. Right on. Wouldn't miss it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Corn Chronicles. The search continues. I have been Tom, joined by Emily and Deanna. I want to thank everybody for their listening time tonight or today, depending on when you're listening to this. And I hope you have a great one wherever you're at. And I hope we're still here. All right. All right, man. Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop record right